G'day guys, goeiedag, hoe gaan dit? My name is Wildkard. Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for watching the Wildcard Rugby Show. Like, comment and subscribe. And yes, you are here today because the mighty Springboks has ventured to Twickenham, the Lions' den, and walked out the convincing winners tonight over the English team. This was a interesting kind of game because both teams were kind of like neck on neck, and then towards the end of the game, the last maybe 15-20 minutes, both teams were kind of lacking a little bit, and I think that the Springboks was pretty lucky that the English wasn't able to find their feet to pull themselves out of the ditch that they were in. And interesting as well going to this game, Rassie Erasmus has made a very similar selection, back in man of the block, having 100 Pollard on the bench again with a 5-3 setup, just like they did at the Rugby World Cup, almost wanting to prove that it wasn't just a fluke, luck, last luck sort of thing, that they won at the Rugby World Cup semi-final. And sure enough, he backed man in the block, and obviously the biggest question going into this game is how good he's going to be his kicking. He has struggled in kicking in recent times as well in a previous in Rugby Championship, and yeah, again he struggled tonight, not able to. It's almost like a bit of a deja vu for a lot of South African fans when he missed some of those pretty easy kick, like right in front. There was long range one he missed, and and it wasn't pretty, and it did eventually having Condry Pollard coming off the bench to kind of like salvage the situation a little bit, settle, hitting a 50 plus meter kick on the crossbar and went in anyway. So yeah, it is kind of like one of those things you can see that Rassie wants to take that game from the semi-final and improve on it. And I think in some aspects, he did manage to find some improvements. I thought Grant Williams was absolutely brilliant, scoring a try, just being able to play a bit of heads up rugby, spotting out some of the English forwards who can't really tackle, it seems, and was really good in that regards. And I think that Rassie Erasmus, the fact that he actually backed man in the block, it just shows how much he really trusts his own players. It's not like, you missed the kick or something and suddenly you're dropped from the team, like some other teams that might be, especially some other top national teams, might be more ruthless in that regards. The one talking point is the English fullback George Furbank was dropping in ahead of Freddie Stewart, opting for more of a high ball style. And I do think that Freddie Stewart is just not quite as good as Furbank. Yes, he's good on the high ball, but he's defensively a little bit lacking a little bit, and also lack a threat. Like, yes, you're good at catching the ball, but you're not really much of a threat once you get the ball. So that's kind of like another area, especially the way that the England has found a lot of success in counter-attacking. In Marcus Smith, directing traffic, kicking game, finding space with a little bit of a smart style of play, a ball in hand play. It's more having like someone who plays like Eddie Jones style of high ball catching. Is not really. I think it was a bit of a bad selection there from Steve Borthwick. And also we saw a little bit of the charge down being in play. You're not allowed to have a player that stands next to the rack to block the blocks kick anymore. What was his name? Jack Van Porfleet got charged down a couple times by Eben Esbeth, and including one time leading to a try. There was some talk that there could have been an offside. It's very hard to tell. There's a big pile of mess on the ground with the players and the camera angle as well. It's very hard to tell if Eben Esbeth was offside or not. I think that TMO couldn't overrule at least the try for Peter Step to toy after a charge down from Eben Esbeth. There was also an interesting thing near the second half, about 69 minutes in the game. I thought the Springboks was probably done. They were on the ropes, penalties given out everywhere. There was a yellow card to Dinnekamp, and there was an interesting thing that popped in my mind. I was very concerned that Springboks could lose it because of Dinnecamp's yellow card, because Ox Unche had been taken off about 35 minutes in the first half due to a leg injury, and then Dinnekamp is, by my understanding, it's the only loose head prop left. So if he had been sent off and the England called for a scrum, then the Springboks could potentially, and I thought potentially, go without a loose head prop and have to go to uncontested scrums, which means they have to lose another player. They have to go down to 13 players because of a Dinnecamp's yellow card, and that would give a massive advantage to the English team. But luckily, always Mr. Reliable, Mr. Incredible, Mr. Vinny Big Cock came in and was like, yeah, I can play loose head prop, and he filled in. Not quite the cleanest loose air performance, but did enough to hold off the English advancements and get the job done regardless. So yeah, I mean, it is one of those things where either both teams were given a lot of penalties, and the referee issuing a yellow card to Steenekamp with really, I don't think he gave a warning at that point too. It was a little bit of a surprise to me. I thought he would at least given a warning before just randomly giving out a yellow card, and it wasn't like in front of the try line in a cynical situation. It was pretty far out for around the halfway point. I thought it was a bit of an emotional decision, to say the least, for the referee. Speaking of emotional decisions and referee decisions, obviously the big discussions with a lot of the Springbok fans will be the disallowed try to Kurdi Arinsa. There was ruled a forward pass, so let's have a look at this, right? So upper letter Farsi, this was ruled a forward pass, out of hands forward, so you can see that it's out of hands forward here, and they say this was a forward pass going into a try. This would have been almost, yeah, but if you look at this angle, may or may not argue that's a forward pass there, even because the ball does drift forward after you go out. It's about whether the ball came out of hands backwards. So the issue here is, right, it's not the fact that whether it's a forward pass or not a forward pass. The issue here, in my opinion, is the fact that the referee on-field decision was that this was a try, and to overrule, for the TMO to overrule an on-field decision try, there must be clear and obvious evidence to overrule the decision on the field. So this, to me, the fact that two camera angles showed this camera angle, I can say, yep, that's a forward pass. But this other camera angle, this one, that's not very conclusive. The fact that you have contradicting footage, that's not very conclusive that this may or may not be a forward pass, means that the TMO don't have clear and obvious evidence to overrule the decision on the field. So I thought this should have been a try because of that, not because whether or not this was actually a forward pass. I think, you know, if this wasn't a try and the referee just wanted to have a look if there was a forward pass or something, this could be considered a forward pass. But because this is a try and the TMO needs clear and obvious evidence to overrule it, I thought this was not enough because of contradictory of the two camera angles. So yeah, I thought that was also a bit of an interesting decision from the TMO that luckily it didn't actually result in the Springboks losing the game, because then that would have been a tragedy. And so I think that with that being said, I think the probably the one thing that I thought really was probably put me off a little bit of surprise is the Springboks decision to take not 3 points, but to go for the line out on 70 minutes on the clock when there was about 2 minutes left. And if you look at the score, 20 points to 29, if they kick the 3, there will be 32, and that's 12 points, means that England have to score 2 converted tries to win the game, instead of at the moment they just have to score a try and then take a kick. They would have won the Springboks. So that was a massive decision to turn down the 3 for the Springboks. And I think maybe, just maybe, Rusty is listening to my podcasts, right? Because I talked about this. The value of time is worth more than 3. It's more than 3 points. And the Springboks went for the line out, not because they think they're gonna put the nail in the coffin and score 5 points and England will be completely out of reach, because they understood that if they run the clock down just 1 or 2 minutes, this game is over. And that's more important than kicking 3 points. This was not actually 78, this was about 77, 76 minutes. And instead, if they kick the goal, England will have 4 minutes to work themselves into 2 tries, which is much more likely than if they just run the clock down 2 minutes and then England only have about 1 or 2 minutes left to score 1 try, and there's no way they could get a penalty after that. So the management of time here, I thought, was really good for the Springboks. Again, there's something that I think a lot of international teams, especially the English team, overlook, is the value of time, the value of playing the game, controlling time. And, you know, your opponent can't score if you have the ball. The opponent can't score if they have no time. So the 2 things that you control also shuts down the options for the English team to win. I thought that was really smart by Rassi Erasmus, and something that I kind of talked about quite a bit. I think the one thing that really let the English team down was the defense. Really poor left and right. In addition to Ferdy Stewart, Demi Delindo set up a try by running through both Henry Slate and Ben Earl, two of your supposedly best defenders, especially when it comes to rush defense. I was surprised. I mean, Damien Delenda is good, but to run through your two best defenders in your entire team like that was a little bit of embarrassment to the English team, to say the least. The breakdown was a bit of a mess for both teams, left and right. I thought the referee was probably a little bit harsh on some of the calls. There were times where I thought players were laying, for both teams, were laying on the wrong side of the ruck, disrupting the clean-out, resulting in a jackal for a turnover. I thought there was a couple of those should not have been called a turnover, or should not have been called a penalty, but the referee called it anyway, Mr. Andrew Brace. Yeah, so that's pretty much what I want to talk about. Have I gone through everything? Yes. So let's have a look at the match stats. Let's have a look at what's the performance of the team. 2 tries to 4 for the England side. Marcus Smith, once again, probably the one player that seems to know how to play rugby, seen space, and I think that, yeah, England, there was a period where England was like just pounding, and I think their own commentators was getting really upset, just pounding the defensive line, crash ball, and the Marcus Smith didn't even get a chance to touch the ball, and then suddenly it was turned over, because that's exactly how the Springboks like to play. I mean, that's literally what the Springboks do. So you're playing into the game plan of the Springboks with those crash ball options, really not really, I think, yeah, not using your biggest weapon, which is Marcus Smith, that is available to you. So 309 run meters for England, 323 for the Springboks, 109 carries for England, 88 for the Springboks, 22 turnovers against England. So that's what I was talking about. Their forwards were just piling in, and the Springboks just like pecking their time to get the turnovers that they were needed to get themselves to jail again and again and again, especially in the second half when the time was, when the clock was running short. Tackles made, 117 tackles made for England, 25 missed tackles. Considering you don't have to make that many tackles, 25 tackles is definitely on the high end. Springboks, 144 tackles made, 24 tackles themselves. 21 kicks in play for England, 27 for the Springboks. There was one drop goal missed by Andre Pollard. I don't know. Since the Rugby World Cup, the Springboks seems to be just trying to kick drop goals, and nobody seems to be able to break the curse of getting a drop goal. So yeah, still no drop goal, right? So far since 2020, 2024. Yeah, somebody's going to tell me, like, Damien Willemse kicked the drop goal in 2022. I'm talking about this year. I don't think anyone has hit a drop goal yet for Springboks, despite numerous. Did Sasha kick one? I don't think so. Anyway, kicks from hands, 613 to 641. I thought the one thing that England did was kind of good was their kicking game. They were pinning the Springboks inside their own 22, and then there was one, especially early in the game, they parked the ball just into your end zone to force you to ground the ball and then do a goal line dropout, giving another opportunity to kind of recycle the ball. So I thought that was pretty good from England. And then we've got lineouts, 2 lineouts lost for England, 2 lineouts lost for the Springboks, 17 for England out of 13 for the Springboks. So penalty conceded, this is an interesting one. 13 against England, no yellow cards. 14 against the Springboks. It was 1 yellow card against Steenekamp. So I thought that was a little bit harsh there. Yeah, it was a bit of a mess, and luckily the Springboks wasn't able to suffer materialistically as a result of that yellow card. So yeah, with that being said, let's have a look at some of the quick moments of the game. So yeah, 4 minutes into the game, there was an attempted drop goal from Marcus Smith. Basically, he was about 22 minutes out, and then there was a rush to charge him down, and Marcus Smith just faked the drop goal and took a step and went to the shore side. And then, yeah, just nice hands down the shore side. Henry Slade passed to Ollie Slyhorn, the try-scoring machine now for the England team. Immediately, England scored 7 points to 0. It shows, like, why did you even try for the drop goal when you could just do, when your attack is so potent, right? The direction from the coaching stuff is fundamentally flawed to have a drop goal attempt this early in the game when you haven't even tested the defense, and sure enough, when you do test the defense, it led into a try, right? Like, it was just like fundamentally stupid for them to even try that in the first, unless that's the secret. They fake a drop goal and then they get their space open up in the short side. But hey, maybe that's their secret. But I thought that was kind of like a weird decision to begin with. 10 minutes into the game, Grant Williams looked up in front of him and saw Ellis Genge. Not good at tackling, just ran straight through him, bumped him through, and under the post goes Grant Williams. 7 points to 7. 40 minutes into the game, there was a penalty to breakdown. I thought it was a bit harsh against the Springboks. England kicked this one. 10 points to 7. 60 minutes into the game, there was a kickoff. And Ebenesbeth, this was a penalty against Peterson Toy, sorry, the previous one. And then from the kickoff, Ebenes charged the ball down, and Marcus Smith screwed the ball up, and Marcus Smith tried to kick the ball again. The kickoff of Van Poorvliet was charged down, and then Marcus Smith tried to clear it, and then Peterson Toy redeems his own penalty, charged this one down. The ball looked like it was going to get rolled out, and suddenly just took like a turn, stayed in field, and the big man runs in for the try. 10 points to 12 to the Springboks. 20 minutes into the game, again, the Springboks had an opportunity to take 3. They did not take it. They won for the penalty. They won for the maul. They got a penalty advantage again. There was a nice crossfield kick to Cheslin and Kobe. Caught the ball, and Freddie Stewart was just like really poor defense. Completely overshot the defensive line, and just Kobe just like whoop, stepped him. Easy as that, and just winning for the try. 10 points to 19 for the Springboks. 25 minutes into the game. Again, England showing they can indeed play rugby, but just lack the consistency. They had the line out. They had the forwards just crashing the ball. They basically, the forwards roll their sleeves up, just belting it through. And eventually Sam Underhill had a nice angle, got a short pass from his I think it was from Marcus Smith. It was from Van Poorvliet, I think. Ran a nice little angle, punched through a little gap. Try time, 17 points to 19. England caught up, just 2 points behind. The scrummaging was pretty close at this point. I think that there was the Genji was down at one point early in the game, and then at this point later on, I think there was a penalty against the Springboks, so elbow down as well on the loose hair side. So it was quite even overall, not clear advantage for both teams in that regard. 38 minutes in the game, there was a final penalty just before halftime for the Springboks. Man in the block missed this one. Second half starts, like I said, right from the beginning. There was nice little hands for the Springboks down the side, and Ardens went in for the try, and it was declined, as we saw just then. Apparently a 4 pass was deemed by the referee. 48 minutes into the game, England scored a try, and it was rolled back because Maori Toji performed a very slight neck grab, and was a little bit unfortunate. So I guess that evens out for the both teams, even though I do think that the Springbok try should have stood. Yeah. Anyway, 52 minutes into the game, there was an England penalty. They kicked 3. 20 points to 19. England get themselves 1 point in front. As you can see, at this point, there's a clear change of mentality. England just wanted to stay in touch and maybe claw themselves a tie lead, whereas the Springboks looking to just really give it an opportunity. When given an opportunity, try to extend their lead and really try to squeeze out more points. 53 minutes in, Steenkamp lost this one. He lost the hit, went down and lost his own scrum feed. He's not going to be happy about that. 56 minutes into the game, there was another penalty. It was penalty to the Springboks for the England team being jacking the ball off their feet. Henry Pollard kicks a 50-meter penalty, hit the goalpost, hit the crossbar, and bounced in. 22 points to 20. And then England after this, they were looking a little bit tighter, looking a bit stressed. And sure enough, 62 minutes, Damien Dellinder ran up, took the ball against Ben Earl and Henry Slade, and ran straight through. Just a nice pass to his support winger down the sideline. Try time, Cheslin Kobe, 20 points to 29. 68 minutes into the game, there was a lot of pressure applied by the England team. Lots of penalties in different places, and suddenly the referee issued a yellow card against Steenkamp, who he thought was giving away too many penalties. I thought that was a little bit of a tough call. I should have probably given him a warning before this, especially it's not really like near the try line. If he was near the try line, sure enough. But yeah, anyway, the 69 minutes in the game, the Springboks was under the pump, just giving out a yellow card. England was inside the 22, pounding. There was a penalty after the penalties, and the referee could potentially give you another yellow card. It was just like, yeah, any more penalties? We're just giving out a yellow card. If you're giving out more, we're going to send out another one. And then, sure enough, England says, well, we're going to go for the line out. They go for the line out. Luke Cowan-Dickey books the throw. He faked the throw. He and then he throw. And that's just like the errors. Like that's a coach killer right there. Like you should not be making errors like that in such a tight game. As an international test rugby player, like you just throw it. If no one's jumping, just throw it, right? Yeah. So that was the immediate turnover. So that was really bad. And there was a scrum after this. Vinnie Cock had to go to loose there. There was the scrum was really shaky when that happened. And then, yeah, there was a bunch of England opportunities after this. It was turnout at the breakdown. I think Big Vinny Cock got a turnover as well just after this to save the Springboks just in front of their own 22. Finally, 76 minutes of the game, the Springboks had an opportunity to kick 3 points, penalty, easily kick a ball 40 meters out, and then they went for the line out, and shows just like Arasi tried to understanding the value of time, not giving the opportunity for the England team to play more time. Because you play some rugby, you might not score, you might get a penalty, you still can get the 3 points, but you're taking the time off England to play rugby, which is really important. They ran a few phases, not able to get anywhere, anything through, and the Henry Pollard go for drop goal, he missed this one. And then, yeah, after this, the England team was just really not able to get themselves into any sort of momentum, with the clock ticking down, and the Springboks was just happily, closing out the game, 29 points to 20, and England completely was out of gas by the end of the session. So yeah, let me know your thoughts about this game. I think that Steve Borthwick, I don't know what's going on with the camp. With their coaching, assistant coaches leaving left and right, not just Felix Jones, other assistant coaches as well. Surely there will be some consistency issues in the England team. And I think that maybe the selection of Freddie Stewart is a bit of an overthinking on the behalf of how the Springboks wants to play the kicking game. Especially if Steve Borthwick actually watched the Springboks in recent times. They don't play that much kicking game anymore. So it's kind of like a bit of an overreaction as to what the Springboks might bring from Steve Borthwick. Yeah, great win for the Springboks. The Lekker Braai is still going on for the next week. And thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, and have a good one. And I'll see you guys next week for the news. Cheers.